G'day, this is Captain Noob and this is Albert. He's a pistol. So this is the Albert-01R. This is a pistol from Resident Evil 7. I believe you unlock this from completing the game, and yeah, if I'm wrong, that's because I've just read it wrong from the wiki, because I do not know a lot about Resident Evil. I've never even played those games, but they seem okay, I guess. They're pretty iconic for what they are. But anyways, here's what it looks like. There's not much customization to it, so I'll just go ahead and look at it a little bit more. It's actually a pretty good model there. I'm not sure if that's a rip or not, but it seems to be some sort of Beretta pistol decked out with a suppressor and a laser sight there, so it's nice and decked out and tactical. It's kind of the attachments that I put on it anyway if they were available to me. Now for the receivers, a standard receiver doing 392 damage, which I could probably leave it at that and would be fine, but no, it gets better, alright. So we can go up to the advanced receiver, which almost does 700 damage, and maybe that is to balance out its abysmal fire rate here at 16 there. So it's going to act more like the pistol in Resident Evil, because I actually saw a little bit of gameplay of it. It doesn't shoot the fastest, so yeah, that would be kind of interesting. We'll also grab another one and chuck an automatic receiver on it and see if that makes it any better. Anyways, enough of this. Get into Gunner's Plaza, shoot people, blah blah blah, you know the drill. Okay, so upon making the advanced receiver a thing, we've got all these modifications, but this is just for the 10mm modification, so if you want you can chuck a 10mm barrel, grip, magazine, scope there. It's also got a legendary effect, we won't be using that. I think this thing does enough, but yeah, that's probably a glitch that probably should be fixed, but yeah, interesting little fact. Okay, here we are in Gunner's Plaza, and this is our Albert in first person there. Looks pretty good. Aiming down sights, the sights line up properly. This thing uses a 10mm animation, so they're going to work pretty well with the pistol weapon, and it's nice to see some new animations. Now, as we get into firing this thing, I'll point out some of the flaws, but first of all, I want to talk about the hairstyle there. So yeah, we've got another Azar hairstyle going on. That's one of the ponytails things there, so that's kind of new. Not permanent, but yeah, just something new to our sort of thing. It's also got hair physics, which is kind of nice. Anyways, so yeah, the lack of customization options to this pistol is a shame, because it could really use some glow sights, I think. Any like subtle customization sounds good. Now, this thing having a weapon card that says 700 damage, as you saw at the start there, would lead me to believe that this thing would be able to do a little bit more damage on chest shots than 99 there. I'm really not sure what's happening here, unless it's sort of like a Resident Evil thing where you get actual good damage for headshots only, which I guess would make sense if you were fighting zombies, but us human meatbags, you can shoot us through the heart and we'll drop dead as easily as a bullet to the brain there. But there we go, 768 damage there. That's only against the gunner conscript, so not that strong. We'll go in nice and close in a third person so we can see all the cool hair physics there. These gunners really aren't putting up a fight today. Maybe this weapon is terrifying in a way, but it does have some really cool sounds to it, which are I guess extracted from the game, which is kind of cool. But yeah, all around a pretty solid thing. Now you might notice that the slide doesn't go back when you shoot it, which is unfortunate. Also, hey, there's Captain Bridget. She's made an early appearance. Okay, we'll go ahead and crit her in the face, and 323 damage on a crit. So something about this weapon is just horribly sort of what's the word, inconsistent in its damage there, and it looks like we didn't get the proper penetration perk going on there, so I'm not sure what's happening there. We've got a nice disarm on Captain Bridget there, and we'll make sure nobody else picks up her overpowered weapon by shooting the rest of these gunners here. Now the fire rate is one of the major downfalls of this weapon, because if you aren't able to shoot bullets, you can't do damage, so a high damage is basically a necessity for this thing. Interesting. I know that Fallout 4Y, as he's known on Nexus, or Vendetta on Discord, and Donald Trump on his YouTube account, has made this weapon. Also some sound glitches. Just wait for those sounds to pop up. There they are. And yeah, I'm wondering why the damage is so inconsistent, so if you could just drop a comment and tell me why, that would be greatly appreciated, because I'm not, doesn't feel like this thing is doing anything different than just shooting regular 10mm projectiles or anything. I haven't really taken a look at this thing in the creation kit, but it seems like it's the run-of-the-mill type pistol weapon, just with new sounds and skin from a highly popular game that I've never played, but it appears to be something else. Anyway, so we're being overrun by gunners at the moment. We'll whip out our automatic one. and we'll get a whole lot better damage out of this one, even though we are getting a little bit less of the damage on the weapon card there. Okay, I think it's time to use this thing in Nerd Rage because we are getting hammered here. So, well, yeah, we go. There's activated. So with the, what's your language there? Yeah, with the burst fire and VATS, you can easily take out your opponents just with a quick burst. Although the recoil doesn't scale well to this thing, it still has the same recoil as you would be firing the semi-auto version. Yep, again, we're taking a lot of bullets to kill that person, although these are only 10mm bullets, so it doesn't really matter if you miss all that much because these things are about a dime a dozen, but yeah, that's fine, I guess. Not really keen on this damage, though. It just seems to be that inconsistent that, yeah, maybe I will have a look in the Creation Club after this video because, yeah, a weapon that is hitting for, I'll just bring it out on the inventory. It says 513 and the advanced semi-auto one 719. And they're hitting him in the face. If I can get the shot for 148, that begs the question, what is actually happening with these weapons? Maybe they do less damage against humans and are more for killing ghouls because ghouls are like zombies and zombies would be sort of on the wavelength of Resident Evil or some abomination type creatures. So I don't know, maybe it'll work better against super mutants or deathclaws, but yeah, I'm really taking guesses here, so any of this could be just nonsensical ramblings. But there you go, that was Albert in Gunners Plaza. It did well, but it's very inconsistent. Say if I had a Gauss rifle that was firing about that fast with 719 damage as generally there'd be, I'd be able to tear through Gunners Plaza quite easily, except for, well, I guess you could maybe fire off a few Gauss rifle shots in the time it takes to reload. They have about, okay, this thing fires a little bit faster, but accounting for charging and all that, I guess they're around about the same in the grand scheme of things, but yeah, interesting performance. It's doing okay, but inconsistent. I know I've said that a lot, but yeah, we'll move on to something else. Alright, so I'm going to attempt to play to this thing's strengths and use this with automatic, but specifically in VAT so we can quickly nail those headshots really quickly, and we don't have to worry about recoil in VAT. So yeah, it's going to be a very cinematic gun through of the Super Mutant Warlord Palace here. So we seem to be doing okay, although 3.9 times damage, so that would lead me to believe that this thing, contrary to the big fucking barrel on the front, isn't suppressed. So, that's really quite interesting. That would also explain why I was so easily detected by those other gunners there. So, yeah, I actually thought this thing was suppressed, but it's not. So, I guess that while that doesn't really explain this thing's bad damage or inconsistency, it explains why the gunners were able to detect me so quickly in the first place in that first little fight through Gunners Plaza. Now, compared to pistols in the vanilla game, this thing has a pretty lousy AP usage per VAT shot, which I guess for design reasons you could have it like that, but although we are firing VATs. Wow, what are you shooting at? What human are you shooting at? I'm the only one in here, mate. Is that the special effect of this weapon, making super... No, he's shooting at me now, never mind. Okay. We'll get into a nice position where we can... That's headshot this guy. We'll do a crit there for 240 damage. Running the numbers through my head, about 719 damage. You half that, and then double that again. You should probably be hitting a little bit harder than 214 with headshots, so... Again, this is just baffling. I'm really not sure what's happening, and the fact that this thing isn't suppressed makes it a whole lot less versatile and a lot less stealthy to use. So I'd actually be more comfortable using that classic 10mm pistol that you'd get from the Creation Club, because that's actually, you could actually put a suppressor on that, and you could probably kill these guys actually a lot faster with that. Also, that guy had an instigating baseball bat. That is actually a pretty decent weapon, but whatever. Okay, so we're hitting him harder over here, apparently. According to VATS, we can one burst this guy, or just about. Only hitting him for 106, though. Is there some sort of range thing that makes this thing hit harder at range? That is why up close... Hang on, this doggo's up close, so... 70 damage up close. Okay, just remember that now. We got about 70 damage on the doggos up close there. And don't worry about them biting you. Their teeth must be made out of foam. They just don't hurt at all. Okay, so scooping in here. Okay, we seem to be... Huh. Maybe there's like a sweet spot to this weapon, like a sweet spot mechanic in Battlefield. I don't know. This is just... I am entirely confused. At least his head is crippled. That's kind of nice. Okay, we started off doing about 130, then ended up 170. I still have no idea how this is... Okay, 238 damage on him. So he's at medium range right now. 49 damage. Is it like a soft furious effect? Because, okay, we're doing even less damage now. What even is this gun? It's just enigmatic. I've really got no idea what this thing does and why its damage is just so all over the place. But we'll press on anyhow. We'll switch over to our automatic one, see if we can get a... Wow, this thing is also incredibly inaccurate in VATS for a pistol, which is interesting. I wonder if the weapon card will actually give us... okay, I found it. It's the range. I know why that is. It's because it's got no barrels, technically. So this weapon right here, it's all a one 3D object rather than how Fallout 4 makes it with multiple parts. So basically for weapons, you've got a dummy receiver, right? And the different weapon parts for the receivers, obviously the game actually highlights them when going through the workbench. So picture yourself, you've got a 10mm pistol on the thing, and you scroll through the receivers, right? And it's sort of glowing up that receiver bit, right? The slide and stuff. And you move over to the grips, and it glows up the grips, right? Well, they're different objects, and they're all placed on the same sort of thing. And you've got the what's it called? The dummy NEEF in there. That's the .nif file, NEEF file. And yeah, and that's why that. Now, what gives you the range in your weapons is actually the barrel attachment. And since this thing doesn't include a barrel, its range is abysmal. So that is why we're only hitting them for that far over at this range, 219. But if we get closer, we should be able to hit them a little bit harder. Okay, we'll have to do it manually, so I'll hold still. No, we don't. It's just... okay, we seem to be... Okay. It's just all over the place. Maybe there's sort of a range sort of randomizer. If you're out of range, the weapon will do random amounts of damage, but that is why it seems to be so inconsistent, or at least half of the answer as to why this thing just doesn't perform at a consistent level. Almost 900 damage on that guy, so yeah, that's kind of weird. So this is obviously one of the flaws of making a weapon like this without using different 3D objects for all the individual parts. So yeah, you could tell that just by the start of the video there's only a superfluous thing that doesn't even change any of the things there. None of the 3D objects. It's just a stat changing thing, which is what I use for the BFG 90. Usually the different attachments have all of the same sort of I know it's a lot easier to explain if you're familiar with the creation kit. Probably just not explaining it all that well if you're not familiar with it, but yes, this thing doesn't have attachments. Without a barrel you get no range out of it, and that is why its range is only 16 in its semi-auto form, where you usually get a lot more range, and is completely, it's nothing. That's less than a 2-shot double barrel shotgun when yeah, with that. So I guess that explains this weapon's terrible performance, perhaps, if this thing adds more attachments, and that is also why the slide doesn't move back, because that's sort of one of the animation points of a 10mm pistol. You'd actually have the slide come back as you shoot the weapon, and that is one of the advantages of having several different 3D objects all piled into the same weapon. It's a very modular system. They did really well with the Fallout 4 weapons. They're quite sophisticated, actually. But yeah, enough about that. Let's go ahead and kill a monster, hopefully. Okay, no giant swan enemies to kill today. We'll just keep this simple by killing the Wendigo Ghoul, although he might give me a little bit of trouble because this thing just, it's a little bit of a crazy thing, but yeah, whatever. We'll go ahead and start critting him in the face here. We've picked the wrong weapon. We'll go back to our automatic one. Oh yes, this thing isn't suppressed, so the whole stealth approach really isn't gonna work. But sometimes you sort of have to improvise to win your fights, and that's exactly what I've done. You see, I've created a little bit of a defensive network of turrets to help me out in just such an occasion where I wouldn't be able to defeat this giant ass ghoul over here. So we've got a 95% chance to hit him from all the way over here, and Where is he going? Okay, looks like he doesn't want to feel the sting of 1,000 lasers hitting him for now. Okay, we got one more shot to put in him. 58 damage all the way from there. Yeah, this thing, ugh. It's probably not even worth using this thing at range at all. Hey, come back here. Wow, he's a quick runner. Ha, look at all these lasers at him. That's right. Come back here, man. Yeah, that's right. Keep on coming. In fact, stay right there. That seems to be actually destroying you pretty well there. So according to VATS, they would actually be doing a significant amount of damage to his health bar. But you all know VATS is a liar. And it's probably not even worth it trying to fire from this range, because of recoil and everything. Now, unfortunately, he is not able to be staggered by all of this laser fire here. So we're going to have to dodge like... we just have to dodge like crazy. Okay, he's mutated. My settlers are mad. But yes, we can watch all of the lasers complete. Oh, it got inside! And he killed me. He did the death animation, but he's too big, so it kind of just looked like he was leaning over and saying, okay, you die now. Okay, we'll try that again. Whilst I'm looking at the workbench in search of a suppressor to put on this weapon, yeah, you can actually increase this thing's range a little bit just by giving you the short barrel attachment for the 10mm pistol, and that won't actually do anything to the weapon. So yeah, so maybe this thing isn't a suppressor, but sure looks like one. So yeah, and also if I try to actually attach a suppressor there, it just kind of turns into that, which isn't very aesthetically pleasing. Although they kind of look similar, you could probably get away with chucking this, like scaling it down just slightly and chucking it there. So yeah, that's kind of cool, I guess. But yeah, we won't be using a suppressor. We'll just keep that with the short barrel there. Hopefully that'll increase our range and hopefully make this thing a little bit more consistent. Okay, we'll give this another shot now that that ghoul over there has decided to take on the local bug population for some reason. And if we come in just a little bit there, we can get not as great shot on the head as I thought it would. Maybe this thing with actual range now calculates your VATS hit chances properly, but hopefully we can get some good damage there. So 269 damage so far seems to be going alright. As he gets closer, our damage will only increase because having a short barrel obviously isn't going to net you that much range. So going in nice and close is probably the best thing we can do for this weapon. Also, enough with those camera angles, VATS. That's highly inappropriate. Anyways, we'll move on just down here next to the good old things again, and we'll dodge out of the way of his attacks. And I think we just copped one there. We are poisoned, but that's fine. The poison damage does nothing. I'm pretty sure it's counteracted by the the red damage that it does anyway. So he's making a break for it now. He'll be back soon. And hitting him 54 over there. These feral ghoul reavers, not what they were in Fallout 3, and they should go down nice and quickly. Alright, so we'll quickly just lure him into all the turrets. He's gone ahead and mutated. We'll go ahead and hit him and VATS a little bit there. Here we go, hitting him for much better damage there. That's viable now. If only this thing had a suppressor, I would have been able to kill this guy super quick. So we'll go for a crit here. Almost dead. Mysterious Stranger comes in, finishes him off, and that is about it for Albert. I believe that is good enough. Good job, settlers. You all didn't die, and the turret network reigned pretty well there too. I'm pretty sure I could have done that without using these turrets as a fallback point, but there you have it. You can, yeah, you can use your settlement turrets to actually help you out there, so you can actually destroy this beast at a low level and get the highly valuable loot on him, including a Deadeye radium rifle. That's not even that bad, but there you go. That was Albert. This thing, I think it's a mod in progress over on the Nexus link, and if Donald Trump sees fit for me to actually chuck the link in the description of his video, then I'd like to do that. But if not, then yeah, we'll have to wait for the Nexus release to do this. So a little bit of a flawed package here, but all in all it does alright. Make sure you actually equip this thing with a short barrel to keep the aesthetic of this thing. I really wish it had sort of the slide animation going for it, but for now it's just a very basic 3D object in place of an actual pistol there, but it looks good all the same. So if you'd like to see this thing in your game, be sure to check out the description. And since a couple of you have been asking where I get the hair mods from, I'll link that too. That's for PC and Xbox One as well. And cool ponytail hair physics. I usually don't have it on this character. Also, for some reason, when I decide to run around in circles with a keyboard, I can get myself to a point where I'm just running on nothing, and then when I try to run out of it, you'll accelerate ever so slightly out of it. I'm really not sure what that thing is. I've never had that issue with a controller, so perhaps it's like a PC keyboard thing. But yep, enough of me rambling. Thank you for watching, guys.